Hello. It is Friday once again. Oh, my friends, it has been a long week. I've pretty much worked 2 extra days this week, so I am exceptionally tired. When I say effectively, since Monday. Since starting work Monday, I have equivalently done 2 days extra work. So yeah, proper tired. So hopefully you won't be too mad if this is a slightly short stream. So, I am very aware that over the last few weeks, months, verging on a couple of months now, we have not been making a lot of progress. The problem is, I have been struggling to, join in and mentally join in and be enthusiastic. I am hoping today, as you know, for the last couple of weeks, I've felt a bit better and felt that, maybe I'll be able to do a couple of videos, and then work has got in the way. And to be honest, I don't see work getting better for a bit. There's some stuff at work that needs to be done before April, and they haven't really started yet, and some of the work could take 3 or 4 months. So, needless to say, I'm sure you can humanly understand, that's not really going to fit in the timescale. So, I imagine there's going to be a lot of extra work going around, a lot of work that we will, some of us will be asked to do that's maybe not within our normal remit, and all of that kind of stuff. And I'm too old for this crap. I am distinctly too old. But today is Friday. The weekend is here. I do like starting my weekend doing this. I do. It's kind of sets me up for a good weekend in that it is a beautiful break, as in a drop off a cliff and do something different break from my working week. I know there's a computer involved, but I'm not sitting there doing things for other people. I am doing a thing for myself and getting to talk to you lovely people while we do it. So, it is time to do some work. Now, I fired up stream and then realised I am not sitting in the best position for this. But there are dogs in the way. Anyway, let's see what we can muster, because realistically, this is as far as is comfortable to be reaching, but fortunately, only so much of this is pins, although quite a lot of it is pins, to be truly honest. So we shall see how it goes. Where are we? We need to untangle you a bit. Okay, you over there. I don't know what's wrong with my jumper. It is, of course, one of my traditional beige jumpers. There you go. But this one's got like scratchy bits in it. But when you go looking for them, you can't find them. It's a bit like if you've ever tried something on and it had a pin left in it. Every so often you'll just get this kind of prickle or a bit of a stab. Now, I'm not really getting the stab, but I am getting kind of like the tag in the back prickle, although there is no tag in the back of these. And I keep getting one in my right arm, like there is a pin in it. And believe me, I have searched. I've had my pin wand out, just in case, and all of that. And all that it means is I end up feeling itchy because, well, there's these prickles. And I don't know whether it's my body prickling because my body's prickling, or whether something is prickling my body, if you know what I mean. You know, are these self-generated prickles, or is it actually the jumper? Yeah, I don't know what's quite up with this. But yeah. Bit of a scratch and see how that goes. Right. Let's get back to business. See, they're a bit short. They are distinctly a bit short. Ooh, the paint. That must be the paint one I did. Paint seems to be definitely coming off on that. Let's shuffle these down a bit. So here we are. See where we're at. Now, you around some pins. This feels like you around some pins you should be. And possibly you're around things you should be. There we go, that's you sorted. And you've got jumble. There we go. And we need 1, 2, and 3. It seems so far away today. I guess because if I sit up straight, that's as far as I can reach. But I'm on the same couch as always. I think I'm a bit more of a seat that way. Because of course it's not, you know, it's not like bucket seats where, you know, you can't sit in the middle of one. I think that's the problem, is that I'm sitting on the wrong bit of seat. For once I do have drink with me. It's not quite a full cup of drink, but... Right, 1, 2, 3. So I need to add some twists to you. They just seem so far away. Where's... Even it out a little bit. You've come off, which is fine. You're annoying. So... Scooch. I hadn't thought about reaching this far back. And you come off again. It's the same one. You're still too long. Of course you are. You've just come off. You've just come off. It's going to be one of those days, people. I've not got the patience for them. trying to explain to my boss, because he asked my opinion on something. And I was trying to explain to him. Because one of the pumps I had was I did a lot of work, the extra work on Wednesday, stroke Thursday, as in I went to work 8 AM on Thursday and finished around about 1 o'clock. Sorry, 8 AM on Wednesday and finished about 1 AM on Thursday. And I did felt kind of abandoned, in that a lot of the things that should have happened didn't, and I was left alone to just deal, and they were supposed to have done the paperwork post, and they haven't. I know they haven't, because, well, I know they haven't. And they may have done some of it. They may have done the most immediate bit to my boss. They didn't do all of it, because they didn't raise a ticket. Why is there a fuzzy... There it is. Yes, there was a little bit that looked like a fuzzy, but it was actually just a little bit of loose thread. There you go. Missing one. Somehow I missed one. And now I don't know how I missed one. 1, 2, 3. So you... How did I miss one? Because they work in pairs. I think... Yeah, let's undo this off. Because I don't know. Because you two should have been the thing working through. See, now you're too far. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I started in the wrong place. I must have done. Because this just doesn't make sense anymore. I don't understand. Because there's 6 here. Oh no, you got crossed over, there you go. You need to do the crossings. And you'd be... like that. Yeah. Because you're underneath, I believe. Not that I can see, but yes, you seem to be underneath. That would seem about right. Why did my thing go ping? So that was Christy sending her apologies that she couldn't join us because she can't get on the internet. So it's all right, Amy. Nothing sleeps more than a dog who does nothing. Grab a few of these bits. Don't have to worry about leaning so far. But you can still see where they did the canyon last week. I don't know if it shows much of a camera. You can sort of see it. There's still the bruise. Yeah. But on that front, I got a letter in the post today that says, so they've managed to, they've obviously, reviewed my CT scan and didn't find nothing. So they wrote to say, hey, we hope that this cheers you up. And it's kind of weirdly worded. I can't be bothered to go and get it. But you know how, like, there are standard letters from your hospital that do things like, dear insert full name here, we required to do a CT scan. This means this, and the colour of your underwear, and you should this, and you must do the other. It just reads like the most non-personal email or letter ever in the history of the world. This one, reads like someone wrote it who didn't know what the words they were supposed to write meant, so used the nearest applicable. So it's almost like something lost in translation. Because bear in mind, they're looking for cancer, because I had bowel cancer. And the actual letter said something along the lines of, just to let you know that we reviewed your CT and could not find signs of the disease. Hope you find this reassuring. That's a bit kind of something along those lines. Nothing blatantly wrong, but also not kind of normal. I mean, to be honest, normally I don't hear from them and work on the principle of, if you don't hear, it's good news, right? So getting a letter so quick, I was a little bit eep. But the fact that it says, we found nothing, hope this, kind of thing, hope this makes you feel better, is nice, but also weird. So, waves, hands. Need to steal a bunch more of these bins. keep up doing the CT thing. When I had leukemia all those years ago, they originally started after, you know, once they'd allegedly, because they don't use the word cured, but once they'd cured me, kind of thing, they let you out and try and return to a normal life. And they initially had you come back every week, then it was every month, then it was once a quarter, then it was every 6 months, then it was once a year, and it went on for like 7 years, right? But it was once a year, you know, within a couple of years. I think it was 3 years. So it wasn't too intrusive. Go and get a single blood test every once a year. I can kind of deal with that. Just so I can kind of deal with going for a CT once a year. It's, you know, the wait wasn't too joyous this year, but in principle, yeah, waves, right? I wonder how long they're going to do it for. How long before they decide how to do it? Now, I can tell you why 7 years is relevant, if you didn't know. If you've ever had cancer, one of the first things they will say to you is that if you've had cancer before, even if it arguably was the same thing, so let's say you have, God forbid, breast cancer, and they chop out a great chunk, 70 odd, let's say 8 years later, they find more breast cancer. They will tell you it is not the same one. Even though, same place, same thing, as far as you know, because it's not like cancers have got different names. It's not like flu or viruses or whatever. After 7 years, because every cell in your body has changed, it is not the same one. And so after 7 years, they kind of give up because, well, clearly you weren't going to, you're not relapsing. It counts as a new one. So they stop looking. I hope I don't have to go full 7 years, which means I'll be bloody 60 when they start. Maybe not quite 60. Because we've been doing it a couple of years now. Still can't believe it's that close. That feels wrong. For some reason, there's a dog twitching on my butt. It feels slightly weird. Let's take that out. It is. And I know why it's weird now. It should not be you. It should be you. That's why it's weird. That's better. Now, you do you. Keep going there like this. I caught up with my at-work training. Now, any one of you who works pretty much anywhere knows that every year, or feels like every 10 minutes, but every year, in totality, there are plenty of compulsory training modules that one must endure. Health and safety, all of this kind of stuff. And having done this exact job for the same people, even though I now work for someone else, but for the same people, for what will be 21 years in 2 weeks. Done these modules a lot. These exact modules a lot. And they're really boring. Although, new employers modules, because obviously new employer has their own training portal, not my old employer's training module. We have to do new employer's training module. They're even shitter. There is something about training material that never goes quite right. That there is always something a bit odd about it. And this stuff is no exception. This stuff, you get a notification, oh, you need to do this training course. Okay. Click. Takes you to training thing. Fine. Because last work's one didn't do that. You had to go and check yourself. But it does say you have overdue training modules. If they're overdue, it nags you. That's great. So you log in and it goes, there's a number of headings in a menu, and there'll be like the number of courses that you are delayed, you've not done yet, and that are due, with a number next to it. And in the top right hand corner is a little like notification bell like Facebook that tells you how many messages there are. And obviously the more it's nagged you about late things, depending on how late you are, because technically mine was due at the end of December, but I was on holiday, so I missed it because I thought it was at the beginning of January. There's notifications, so that's fine. But using the menu on the left, where the menu is, you click on the thing with a number, and it's empty. It doesn't seem to show you the courses that you actually have to do. So if they're due, but it hasn't nagged you, unless you've got the "you have been assigned this course" message, you can't seem to find it. So, let's assume you found a message that you can click on to take you to the course that you've got to do. Click. Brings up a page with, I don't know, this is health and safety training. Right. Click. Nothing seems to happen. But technically it has. Because next time you click, it will change. But the first click doesn't. And if you use a different menu, let's say you got 2 nags for it, go to the other nag, click, nothing will happen. You have to click twice, but nothing seems to change. Then, what changes? You've now got a start thing. Got a little play, like arrow thing, like YouTube arrow, a little kind of pointy thing. So you click on that. It then opens a new tab with the exact same picture that you just came from, so it looks the same. Does nothing. You have to click and take you to a page with an actual start button. You click the start button and it brings up the same picture. And then you generally watch and a list of things. So let's say there are 5 things to do with health and safety that it wants to talk about. I know, water spills, don't plug your fingers in the wall socket, don't lift stuff wrong, don't sit at your desk funny, those kind of things, right? Which I do all the time. So it'll say, like, heavy lifting, ergonomics, whatever, right? So you click on it's got a video, so you click on that, and it's the overview of the first module of the course. You go through, and if there's a quiz in it, you do the quiz. As long as you pass the quiz, completed. Doesn't tell you what to do next. So you look back at the main thing, you refresh it, you go back to the main thing, it doesn't say it's done. So you go back to the thing, you refresh it, and it goes, you have completed this, and you go, right, go back to the thing, still doesn't say it's done. So you click on it to do it again, and then it'll think about it, it'll kind of half load it, and then stop and go, oh, actually you did that. Yeah. So you end up doing all these extra little bits just to kind of tick a few boxes of, yeah, I read that. Yes, I know that I need to, be a bit greener, think of other people, sit properly, do all of these kind of health and safety things. And it says it will give you a time frame. Oh, this will take 15 minutes. Now, Sharon, it doesn't take 15 minutes because in 15 minutes it's still deciding whether you've done the course or not. So it took me a lot longer than it was supposed to. So I did some of that yesterday to catch up on those, so that boss isn't mad. Fill in my timesheet accordingly, which I haven't done yet. So haven't done yesterday's or today's. I did normal day yesterday and a normal day today. Actually, technically, I had an hour off today because we get wellness hours. I think I've mentioned them before. And the wellness hours are times where you basically can go and do something that makes you feel better. So I did. I just need to make a bit more space. Make 3 more of you. 1, 2, 3. Just make you a bit longer, because that's a thing. Let's try and stuff this one. Sitting with my feet tucked under again so they're going to sleep. Really shouldn't do that. Just feels so weird not doing that, and I don't know why. Because normally I sit with my feet outstretched, but for some reason the moment I do this, I try and tuck them under the couch, and well, I don't like it. Seriously, dog? Are you comfortable yet, little nose? I have a new duvet. You may recall I put the cover on it last week. And I'd bought little white mushroom things to stop the cover moving around, which are doing a fantastic job. For they are in play now. You find you an end, so they are now in play. That's what they look like in use. And because it's basically a fur fabric covering, it's almost identical in colour to my jumper. Actually, I didn't realise that. I've only just noticed, and I've been sitting under it for a week. And it is due a bath, do not get me wrong. But Rory has fallen in love with it. It is now his most favourite thing to lie on. I think in part because it's next to me. It does help. But the fact that it's quite a big, soft, squishy, furry thing, he does quite enjoy lying on half of it. I mean, being a duvet, obviously, there's plenty of it, and I don't need a whole duvet to cover my legs, because there may be more than desired of me, but not that much more. Not that I need a whole single duvet to achieve this, at least, and so he can have half. The problem is where I'm sitting now, he can't have the half that he normally gets, because, well, I've moved, and I'm now partly sitting where he would normally be. Amy's not so fussed. I mean, don't get me wrong, she quite likes lying on it too. So, like this morning, I had 2 of them lying on it, on like the other half chunk. Hello, Amy. What? You need Huggies. Oh dear. Oh dear, does little doggy need Huggies? Little doggy needs Huggies. There we go. Can't quite see the nose on camera. Just off camera. Just down here. Aren't you? Little waggy licky thing. Don't wish to be licked. No, you've made my hand all wet now. You have. It's all wet and horrid now. It's covered in dog slob. Yes, it is. Oh, yawn. Seriously, this is the most awake you've been since 7 o'clock this morning. Oh, and a yawn, another yawn. Dear God, woman. Your life is so hard, isn't it? I know. And you're falling asleep. You are. You're struggling because you're falling asleep. Oh, for goodness sake. Seriously, nothing sleeps more than the dog who does nothing. Yeah, no, still doesn't quite reach the camera, does it? No. What? You're not helping. You're in the way. You are. You are. You are in the way. Yes, I know. You're going to tell me you're comfortable now. I'm not, aren't you? Yeah. Good call. She decided she needs to move. Right. Itchy nose. Ah. Dear me. But of course it is a nugget day today, so I'm very excited for later. So you're all being very quiet today. All of you. Oh, dear. Send best hand to get the pins. It's a good idea. I just have to throw them around the floor. Yeah. Bunch more pins. Feet going to sleep. Oh, eep. I didn't do much cross stitch this week at all. It's been working so much. So I haven't been able to show you on that one. Yay, Tenchy, how are you? Good. Glad one of us is. On the flip side, with all that overtime, maybe I can afford a pizza. Work out how much technically that might work out as. I did say might because it's not quite a straight calculation. Could be an approximate that because, well, I don't get told that anymore. I don't get told my hourly rate anymore, even though we're paid by the hour. So, but we're full time, but we're paid by the hour. They always used to give you the equivalent of your hourly rate. But I'm going to guess it's roughly that, because I can't be bothered to work it out. Actually, let's call it that. That's more likely. And then times 1.5 times, and I did 19 extra hours this week. That's 3 days, not 2 days. So, wow, I might feel this. I might actually feel this. It might be about 300 quid. Wow. I might actually feel that in my pay packet then. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, I have done some overtime in the past, but when it's like 1 or 2 hours, you know, it's like 10 quid or something, you really don't notice. I might actually feel that one. Wow. I'm not going to pretend that that's not appreciated. Because, of course, this time last year, having just changed employer, one of the big differences for me was that I was no longer part of On Call. I was going to opt out anyway, but I was no part of On Call. So each month I was no longer to receive the 300 quid a month that I got for doing On Call. So in essence, I kind of got a pay cut. Now I didn't. Not really. Because I wasn't doing the work to earn it, so, you know, fair cop. But I did lose 300 quid a month. Especially if it's £300 for doing nothing about it, usually. So, although, as I say, did I do it again? I did. Even though I was on call 99.99999% of the time, we didn't get called out. Well, in fact, I think I only got called out once. Yeah, once. In the whole time I did on call. But I was getting bored of being on call because I take it seriously, as do many of us. And one thing that became very apparent was that the man who decided whether we needed to get called out or not did not. In that, he would openly admit he'd be drunk, he'd be in the cinema when he was doing his on-call, because obviously someone has to decide whether on-call is valid. Now, they don't, come and evaluate it technically, they just evaluate the request of, we require use of on-call to fix, and the answer is it has to be production, it has to be, that important that, it can't wait till normal hours and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, well, if he's not doing it, how should I? I mean, he was still being paid in mind, but... And I bet you he wasn't getting the rates we got, but, probably not. But knowing that many other people were not taking it seriously, and so should there be a call out, there's a chance they'd try and call you anyway, and beginning to feel the going downhill, as you all know, I decided that out was the direction because it was purely voluntary. So I unvolunteered. Because I was struggling with it, because I do things like this where I don't really want to get a phone call because, someone's done something dumb on their computer on a Friday afternoon. So I just didn't want it. The monetary gain was not worth the stress. But, it turns out I've been very glad I didn't, because there's been quite a few call-outs. And under the old scheme, there was always, if you think of areas of responsibility in any department, each area of responsibility under the old scheme had a person on call. So, for example, I was in charge of my boxes, so I would be on call. My friend who does databases, well, he'd be on call for his databases. Under the new scheme, while there's only one person on call. So, not wishing to sound disparaging of my friend, because he is a good friend, if something Windows breaks, well, they expect him to fix it. He doesn't do Windows. He does databases. He may not even have access to do anything about it. So there is more complications to that. That's sucky. My co-worker, as always, as you know, he's the only one that texts me. One of his kids was going for a job interview tomorrow, and she got told, the interview's cancelled, the role is on hold, and to reapply if it comes up again. Today it got re-advertised, so she's applied. What a waste of everyone's effort. What a waste of effort. messing everyone around. I must admit, I probably would refuse. I wouldn't go interview for them. And you know, I might be desperate for a job, but if they're going to mess you around before you start there, it's not a great sign. Get more pins. I felt something weird when I was playing up that last. Yeah, there it is. Did I get it? No. There's a hair. There is a hair caught in the pins. It's one of mine. I felt it. I felt it. It was around here. As I pulled these pins, it was in my hand. Now it is on walkabout. I'll back it if I can find it. I'm sure it will come out again at some point. Don't know how it got there. It's a long way away from my head. Oh well. I need one more pin, don't I? There must be something I do about making bobbin lace which causes them to come off the roses at the top, because they just seem to do it all day. They do seem to enjoy it, like it's their national, you know, almost like it's their job, you know. I do think part of it is because the natural way, if you think, because it's coming from going around that way to going up and around. There's always going to be an angle, and if that angle ends up making a big V shape, it means it can open and fall apart much more easily, I think. That is a lot of it. Doesn't make it less annoying. And this is really too far forward to be legal. For some reason this now hurts. Oh, let's do as much as we can and then... So needless to say, having worked 19 hours, so that's 3 days worth of extra in 4 days, doesn't add up. Can't be 30, it can't be 19 hours. For some reason my brain says it's 17 and a half. But it can't be. Whatevs. Let's grab you. That feels bent. Is it really that bent? It is pretty bent. Problem with pins is once they're bent, they're really hard to unbend. Now there are ways to do it. There are ways to unbend. Because what you need to do is... Ah, yeah, no one needs that. Problem with things like pins is that once they're bent even at all, the more you try and fix it, usually the worse you make it, because let's say it's bent at an angle of 10 degrees. You line up the other side and try and bend it back, say 15, so that when it straightens up it will be straight. What actually generally happens is you've now bent it to 20. Because it's round, it's small, your fingers won't grip it, and what you actually need is something like a pair of pliers, but preferably what you really want is to be able to pass it through a really tight tube that is the diameter of the pin, so that you put the top of the pin, you put, like, you clamp it right, you have this thing that clamps around the top of the pin. Now, it doesn't have to be that big, but clamps enough around the top of the pin that maybe it's like, 3 or 4 millimeters wide, and that you can grab hold of the top and then pull it through. And because it is almost atom precision stuff, it will straighten the pin. Now what I have done is I've straightened it with my pliers, and I've done, if you look, the bottom is still wiggly, but it's not half as wiggly as it was. So I can now keep using that pin, and it doesn't feel particularly bent, so that's fine. Bent pins are not actually an issue, but it does make it harder to pull them out because they mingle with pins that aren't theirs to mingle with. Like, they go up a row or whatever. And I feel like I bent that pin, but it isn't. Never mind. I'm getting hot. I know I'm under a duvet. Oh shit, did I not do that this morning? Hang on, I need to click some buttons on stupid Finchy thing. Because otherwise it'll be like 3 in the morning. Hang on. Do not judge when you realise what I'm doing. The fuck is that? No. Let me do this and then explain it. For those of you who know, you know. For those of you who don't yet, hang on a moment and I will explain. No. Right. You probably can't see that much. There he is. He's a little penguin-y kind of shit, right? It's a bit like a Tamagotchi, but it's designed to help with depression. And the principle is that it, by default, sets you a number of tasks that you should do, like get out of bed, wash your face. I'm not particularly finding it cool. Now, the problem with this one, in my own words, is... Well, like I just did. I did every task assigned to me today in a matter of seconds. Well, there's clearly no way that I got up, washed my head, washed my face, fed the dogs, drank 4 lots of water, I forget what else is on there to that point, and all the rest of it, in such a short period of time. But that doesn't raise any flags with it. It doesn't recognise that you're just going through the motions of clicking the buttons, right? Part of the reason I do the motions of going through the buttons is for it to kind of count, he needs to have so many points and then he'll go on the day's adventure where he learns a new word, right? And decides whether he likes it or not, which seems to be random. I seem to remember he doesn't like cheese. Well, he's not related to me then. But it takes him 6 hours to do his adventure. So if you do not have enough tasks, if you do not get round to them early enough, it'll be 3 o'clock in the morning before he's done. And then, because you're asleep, he then goes to bed when he thinks it's your bedtime. You lose out. Even though you did enough, because it's 6 hours. And so I get frustrated with the fact that realistically, you need to get up in the morning, do all your tasks, and then once you can't, you kind of finish work, you can click on it and explain to him that, a squirrel hoarding his nuts is because he's keeping them for winter and he's buying all of his food in one go kind of thing, right? Or whatever the day is, right? I don't find it supports me. I feel more like I'm the emotional support for it. And it... There is another problem with it. So let's say he's gone on his adventure. If you do not close the entire app down, once he's been on his adventure, you can't do anything about it until you've closed the app. So you've got to remember to close the app before you can actually even keep it going. Which again, if you then come back and he's still on his adventure, you can't do anything with him. Well, you can still mark that you've done things, but you can't interact with him. And so it feels... There's bugs in it, in short. Now, I do understand, or so they keep telling me, because I did raise a bug about the closing thing. that they're a small team. And I get that. But when you consider that because it doesn't update, you know, if you finish this adventure in the game and you haven't closed the, I'll call it a game, the game entirely in between, it won't update. Oh, well, can you send us a complete backup of all your stuff? Why? Can you show us a screen print? It just says 0 and won't let you do anything. I mean, what do you need a screen print for? It's not like it's got any other information, because it doesn't, right? All of these kind of things is that you feel, I felt a bit fobbed off. So, the other thing that I find annoying, Amy, is that there is clothes for the stupid thing. Now, I picked mine to be male. 99% of the clothes are dresses. Now, I'm all for I don't really care, but I don't care if you wear dresses or trousers or whatever. But I wouldn't dress by default a little boy penguin in a frilly frock or an animal costume. I might for a party, but not for his everyday life. And you earn these fictitious internet points for tending to your penguin or whatever it is. It is penguinish, right? And some of the outfits are really expensive for no good reason other than they are. But like I was saying, today's outfits. There was this really hideously frilly top, a couple of sticks, and some animal costumes. But if you click on one, it goes from like a grid on the screen of items to like a carousel in one long line. That carousel won't match the grid. And you do. There is the bit of you that just kind of goes, oh, for God's sake, people. The things people can have as jobs these days. Alright. That's right, they're just telling me what the job was. And it's an exam invigilator. Well, realistically, you only really need those in June. Well, April, May, June, whatever it is. Everyone else just uses the teachers that already work there because they're not teaching their lessons. Everyone else had done it in my day anyway. So, yeah. I'm trying to be good and give it the benefit of the doubt, and you know, but I'm not feeling that it's helping. It's all, as I say, I feel more like that app's more like I emotionally support the app than the app does any support for me. So I can see that it could work for other people. You know, encouragement to interact with something to take care of. I've got dogs for that. You know, with all that in, you know, I've got to feed the dog and hug the dog and play with the dog and water the dog and walk the dog and clean up after the dog and, you know, look after it if it's ill and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. So I don't really need a digital pet. Although when Tamagotchis were things, I did really want to try a Tamagotchi. I probably would have killed it though. Truth be known. outside, people. Right, I'm out of drink. So, how am I going to do this? Two more of these. Try not sticking your claws in my butt, dog. They are still feeling rather put out with my New Year's resolution of, if you jolt me, I'll jolt you back. They get very upset by that. Not as in they cry and howl and scream and shit, but they look really put out where when they've jogged me and it's kind of gone like this and it's kind of like I was holding a drink or whatever. So I go back and the look on the faces is like, what are you doing that for? Well, because you did it to me. Yeah. They're not enjoying it. Doesn't seem to be stopping them particularly. You know. But at the same time, I feel better about it. So I can sort this one out a bit. Hang on. I can see you being loose and annoying. Which reminds me. We are now very much into inch number 9. I know it's taken about 6 months or something to get this one, but you know, we've got to. We've got to the point we are now on inch number 9. Okay, so some of you need to get back in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You need to get back into this stick. Tighten them up a bit. They're a bit short because you've caught on the pins. Just a bit more room. Cheers. You heating kicked in and got stuck or something. It feels really hot. Piss off, it's only 18 degrees in here. There is no way on planet Earth this is 18 degrees. You are lying at your binary biceps. No way, it's 18 degrees in it. Normally about this time of year I end up turning the heating up. So while it's set to 18 degrees pre-Christmas kind of thing, normally about now I start having to crank it up to 22 because it's so cold overnight that the house still feels cold even when it's not. But it's still on 18 degrees because it's perfectly mild. Well, it's not mild, it's been quite cold, but it's not cold. The house doesn't feel cold. But my hands are hot to the touch on my face. I am not cold. Which is kind of exceptionally uncommon for me. Normally, if there is a way to be cold, I will have found it. Well, that is how my body works. Except when I'm shopping. Then you go into a shop and it's cold outside, so you're dressed like for the Antarctic. And you go in and they're all but wearing bikinis or something in the shop. So they've got the heating on, like, 72 or something. And that's centigrade. And another bent pin. I don't know what it is with the bent pins. Have I been doing a bent pin special recently? So I can straighten this one out a bit. That's pretty good first try. Holy shit. If I twiddle it, it doesn't even twiddle. Look at this. Right? Watch the pointy end. Doesn't even twiddle now. Wow, I'm getting good at that. Right. Now, of course, a bent pin tends to bend. Because once, like a lot of things, once you bent it and straighten it, it's weaker and all of those kind of moments. But, you know, this is lace making, not, you know, we're not keeping people on mountain cliffs here, you know. No, first time. Yeah. It was quite bent as well. It was a good 20 degrees. So. Huh. Pretty good going. Feet going to sleep. Feet going to sleep. Oh, my toes. Surrounded by sleepy dogs. I really need to have a tidy. I know, I've been saying that for what, over a year now? Yeah, I know. Still true though. Doesn't make it any less true. It's just still true. Borrowed one of you, didn't I? I know I did. Sure I did. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. No, I didn't. Huh? Just one I did. I know I borrowed one of you. So, 1, Don't fall down the hole. That's just annoying. Now you popped off your thing. My feet. Get a bit of blood back in my feet. I don't know why they find it small. I guess it's because I don't normally sit with them like this. So, how best to explain? Normally when I sit on a chair, I don't sit with my legs, you know, straight down on the chair. I sit with them out like this, right? Because, well, I'm casually sitting on a chair. And I'm not 7, and I can put my feet underneath wherever is slightly in front of me and not being an annoying dick about it all. So I sit with my feet out. And I think it's just a case of my body is no longer... Because I don't stand up for a long period of time, because I don't, you know, even if I travel in the car, I put my feet out. Even if I'm driving, you have both your feet out. You've got one on the clutch, one on the, you know, the accelerator, and one on the brake. And so I don't normally sit with my feet. But what happens is instead of just if my fingers on my legs, instead of them just dangling straight down, I actually tuck them in, so the feet have to kind of, so it's like leaning forward on them a lot, and I think that just enough to kind of overdo it, so that the blood starts stopping. Well, no longer starts stopping. That's a dumb bit of English. But it's true, but it starts stopping going into my feet properly, or coming back out my feet. Whichever way you think about it. I mean, I don't actually know which it is. Don't suppose it really matters. But it does mean that my feet start going to sleep and hurting a bit. And so, I can't seem to not do it. Even though I know it happens, and that I know my feet will run out of blood or complain or whatever they're doing. They don't go numb, because I noticed before they've gone numb, which is a good thing. But they don't like it. They get grumpy and painful. And yeah, I still do it. And it's like, we've been doing this 15 months now. How come they haven't learnt to stretch out and be comfortable? Or at least slightly, upright-ish. But no, they go underneath the couch, and then I'm leaning on forward to grab pins or whatever. So I put quite a lot of weight on them, because otherwise I don't feel secure in the chair. Now that's probably a me thing. Totally accept that. In that it is unlikely that I will fall off this chair. But at the same time, I'm pushing with my feet to try and make sure that I don't, if that makes sense. And so that doesn't help, because then you're kind of clenching all the muscles, making the foot, the blood flow in the foot different. And obviously if you clench muscles, generally you are slightly restricting the blood flow. So if I do that on top of leaning forward and having them tucked underneath, basically there's no blood. And they don't like it. And I'm still doing it. We're supposed to learn, right? And I'm so tired. This is all you're really going to hear all day. I do apologise. Oh, ads, joyous ad. When the ads come, I will go for a quick wee and grab a drink. And do all of that, I think. But while they're all up, I will move my comfort kind of pad on the couch a little bit nearer the cushion so that now I can reach that far. My ad's about to start. I know that. What? What? I heard a car. Might be next door parking the driveway. Because they were allowed to. Oh no, they got a van. Oh no, he's leaving. Must be an Amazon. Sorry, people. I can't answer. I know what, there's an option in here somewhere. Right, I'm going to kick the ads in and go for a wee, and I shall see you on the other side with a new drink and everything. Back in a bit. There we go. Back again. I've just realised it doesn't look like my music's playing. Has my music not been playing? Has my music not been playing? Okay. It's because it's showing the Amazon music, I think. I am also back with Doggy Biscuits. Well, I've got two, obviously. So I'm currently the extreme focus of attention. You're sitting so you can have your biscuit. Sit. Sit. Amy, sit down. Now you can have your biscuit. Crunch, 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 crunch. I assure you it is not me that is eating at you. It is distinctly dog. One is Amy is underneath the table, eating her biscuit. Hence it is quite so loud. There. Doggy's happy. Doggy had biscuit. And it wasn't the whole box, but, you know. I'm going to say this and curse it. If you notice something today, I've noticed something today that I don't remember being true by this point in my stream at any point other than today. I haven't moaned about Spambot because there hasn't been one. Maybe they finally managed to work out how to capture the Spambots. It's pleasant. It is pleasant. Well, I have more drink, but less enthusiasm. Hello, Rory. Really? There is very little gap between me and the right-hand end of my couch. Guess where Rory wants to be. Just lie down, little man. You lie down. Let me move my feet. Hello? No, don't lick the duvet. No. No, we don't lick the duvet. Wish my dogs didn't grind their teeth. It feels like this is a bad plan. Hello, Rory. No, I don't want you to lick my jumper either, my man. No, I know. No licking your jumper. Or hands. I have to say I've been getting a hell of a pain here in my thumb. Generally on my right hand, occasionally also on my left. And it is really painful, so that carrying a plate of food level of, I don't know if I can do that with this hand level of painful. I assume it's arthritis. You know, bits of you start falling apart the older you get. Don't I? You're only 5. You wouldn't know. It's not doggy time for that sort of thing. I mean, they can get arthritis early, just like humans can, but generally they have to have had usually some form of damage to trigger it. It's not compulsory, but, you know, that'd be the most common way to get slightly early arthritis in a dog. Or be really fat. Which you're not. You're normal size, don't you? Yes. And you're a good boy most of the time. You are. But I want to do this. I do. My hand is not moving of its own choice. That is being licked. It is. It is, my man. It is. Mwah! Yes. You are mostly good. You are. No, don't. What are you doing? What you doing? Don't be trying to nibble at my fingers. That's my finger. It is. You can't chew it. He's not actually chewing it. He's just kind of got it in his mouth, really. I should spray my hands with something that tastes foul. The problem is, what we think would taste foul and what dogs think tastes foul is not the same. No, stop making me wet and horrible. No, naughty doggies. Rory, you can't get any more in my lap. There isn't more lap for you to take more of you. You are a full house of lap. Here. I mean, as a human, my mother always accused me of biting my nails. I have never been a nail biter. I've always been a nail picker. Hence, her attempts to stop me didn't really work. Can you stop using your claws on me, or I will get something to trim them with? Yes. Not that you can trim them with these, but you didn't know that. Alright, that soon removed the dog from the problem. No. The look of disgust on his face. I need to move my cushion around a little bit. There we go. But yeah, my mother tried painting my fingernails with anti-nail biting polish, which does taste pretty fucking awful. The only thing that I found was that it stopped me eating crisps, because it's really hard to take chips, to the Americans, to take a crisp, stick it in your mouth, and not catch your fingernails with it. I mean, you can put some in your hand and kind of throw, but you don't generally do that with... You do that with things like M&Ms and peanuts. You don't really do that with crisps. You tend to grab, put, and, well, they tasted gross because of the anti-nail biting polish. And I was still picking my nails, so it really didn't help. All it did was destroy my favourite flavours of crisp. But yeah, there are some things that smell bad or taste bad. I do actually have some bitter apple, and it is designed for puppy training. And I occasionally squirt my letterbox with it, because we have a habit of biting the letterbox. And when they do, they really don't like it. They shake their heads and they get a bit frothy at the mouth. Not because they've got rabies, because this is quite a weird flavour and it obviously makes them salivate a lot. Because it is bitter. But I also don't really fancy coating my hands in it, you know? Because, well... But, you know, I imagine there are things I could do, but maybe not. I'm going to finish this triangle down to, like, here. And reevaluate status of the moment. Just because my brain cell is flagging rather a lot at the moment. And with the extra hours, I want a simple life at the moment. Yeah, I was really glad to see, because I can tell you now, they have been doing some stuff this afternoon, and they probably wanted my help with it, and kudos to the boss, because they were going, oh, we'll start this at 2 o'clock, and we'll do this, and we'll do that. And my boss went, and if you want Liz, she already said no. She told you no Wednesday. Because I was asked if I'd work Wednesday night. And I said yes, but I'm not going to be able to do this every night. you know, I'm not going to be here every night, and also I can't do Friday afternoons. And as I was explaining to my boss, I don't have to tell you what I'm doing. Yeah, normally I do. I haven't actually said what I'm doing this afternoon, but they didn't ask. But at the same time, you know, I've said I've got an appointment and I do something every Friday afternoon, and frankly, it's more interesting. And left it as that, because of course legally, you don't have to tell them. You know, I could be, as I said to my boss, I could be counting my split ends. I could be, you know, watching, you know, ultra shite TV. The truth is I do not have to tell you. Now, generally I do, because I feel it's only fair that I, you know, say what I felt was more important. Because, you know, if I am watching EastEnders reruns or something, hardly, you know, epically worth it. But I'm also under no obligation to do any more hours than I'm, you know, than I'm contracted for. So if I just want to say no, no. But as a whole, I do generally say, I'm sorry, but, you know, I've got something booked, or, you know, I'm going to see my dad. Was obviously when my dad was alive, if I was going to go and see my dad, sorry, but I'm going to go and see my dad. You know, that's what weekends are for, you know. A lot of companies do it though, do a thing, which is that it's usually termed swings and roundabouts. In essence, that they are looking for flexibility on your behalf. And for the most part, a bit, yeah, sure. Now, due to not being direct employees of the people I work for anymore, they don't own my soul. And as a result, my allegiance, obviously, is to my employer. And for them to pay me any extra hours, because at least the new lot do pay overtime, by the way, whereas the old lot did not, more to the point. So all of that, if I'd been a permanent employee, so if this had been, you know, just over a year ago, I would never have been paid for any of the extra hours this week. And chances are no one would have said thank you either. And this is kind of part of the reason why there is a bit of you that kind of goes, I need to do as little as possible for a bit. I need to chill. And anyway, but I'm still only contracted to do 37 hours a week, whatever it is, right? The fact that they can pay overtime is a good thing, and recognises that additional hours may be in use. The contract for which we had under our old employer was that overtime and time off in lieu were not granted. Well, not officially granted anyway. And so overtime never got paid. Time off in lieu was very hit and miss. And as a legal representative pointed out, if they do not require you, if they are not prepared to compensate you for additional hours, this implies that they are not expecting you in any shape or form to do them. Therefore, you do not have to. You can just go, no. So to be fair, I did do the no quite a bit, because I didn't want to. But also, because when we had contract staff working amongst us, so I had buds who were contractors, so they didn't work for me, but they kind of worked slightly under me in that I was deemed a senior, they were not, in my area. I would be upfront with them, and I'd look at them, kind of look me in the eye and go, look, here's the deal. They won't work at the weekend, next weekend, whenever it was. I would not get paid for that. So I don't want to. I don't hate them, but would you get paid? And they go, well, yeah. I said, so do you want the money? And they go, yeah, actually. And the deal was struck that they would do out of hoursy things like that that needed payment, because, well, they'd get paid for it and I wouldn't. And so, you know, it worked out well for everyone in that they got extra money and I didn't have to do the extra hours. Well, of course, around about this time last year, we discovered that we were losing, because my database guy and I shared a counterpart. We discovered we were losing him. We'd already got a hint that he was probably gonna go, but that they were all like, "Oh well, you know, we're doing this and we're doing that." No, they didn't. And so we lost our counterpart. I think it was June-ish. In the end, somewhere around about there, May, June-ish. So, but this means, of course, that realistically, the only one with a skill level that is visible on a chart is me for my area, him for his. Now, I have picked up numerous things about his area, and I am feeling proud of myself that something he never got working, I did, for his thing. And I have been cleaning up his backups and sorting that out for him. And I've only got one left out of 30 databases or something to sort. And it's taken a while because, well, it's taken a while. Because that's how long it takes, is the short answer. But, yeah, it is. There is a little bit of you that kind of goes, if they get a call out, you know, shit's gone down, panic Mr. Mannering, you know, kind of deal, there is a high chance that they will not be able to fix it. Which occurred already when, after patching, Box didn't bounce. Now, it wasn't the patching that broke it, to be fair. Something else broke it. And it was something the apps team were doing, and I don't know what the fuck they did, but somehow they broke it. And when it came back up, they obviously redid it, and it broke again. And when we patched it, and so Liz was, you know, because they couldn't work out how to bring it up. Really? So, you know, we did a bit of that. We sorted it all out. Liz saved the day. But on Monday, yeah. So we've already had that, where the guy on call went, no idea, sorry. Whereas previously, I don't think we would have ever been in that situation. There might have been struggles. There might have been a couple of text messages going between a few people to sort it out. But, you know, someone with Unix experience was always on call. And, well, not anymore. Now, it's not that they haven't got some, but it is very, very, like everything, you learn what you need to learn, right? We all do. If you're new on a job and they've given you something you've never used before, chances are you will learn about it, unless you go on some official training course, what you need to know. So if you need to know how to change the file permissions, you will get told how to do that. If you need to, we don't do anything to do with printers, for example. So I won't be teaching them anything to do with printers because we don't do the printers. We don't handle email because we don't. That's between them and their maker. Exactly, it is chmod. But I don't even know if they know that. I really don't, because to be honest, the apps teams can do their own. But like all of these things is that you only learn the things you've needed to use, and maybe learn them by having to do them more than once. You might be aware that there is a command that does that, but you'd have to Google it again. But you might remember some of the commands, some of the, some of the some of the things, if you have done it a few times. Well, the problem is, and this is not a dig at my co-workers, please don't think this is a dig at my co-workers, most of our apps teams log a ticket, and before even the email has come in saying a ticket has been logged into your queue, they've already pinged you going, have you done it yet? As an example, due to working all the extra hours, doing all this shit that I've been doing, it has taken 100% of my time and more, clearly. Not because I took longer, because they needed to do things and we couldn't do it during the day because, and you know, but there were things we were doing all day, prepping for the evening to do the thing, right? And I didn't have time to do something, so I asked one of them to give me a hand. And we were being, you know, we seem to have quite a few audits, and we were asked to fill in an audit spreadsheet. And I had a list of all the things that we do, just not necessarily in the exact wording of the spreadsheet we were given, and not necessarily in the same order. Now, there is a chance it was pretty damn close, but not necessarily in exactly the same order. And while there were 385 lines, a lot of them were headings, so, you know, strip out a chunk. Some of them just don't flat apply. That's fine. And I got asked, I think it was Thursday night last week, can you do this? And I was busy all of Friday and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But on Monday in our team meeting, I asked if any of the other guys were busy. And one of them said, not grossly. And I said, right, I'll talk to, you know, well volunteered. Thanks for that. I've got a thing I could really use a hand with. And I explained, here is a list of things. Here is the spreadsheet. If you can go through this list of things, ticking off the things in the spreadsheet. Right. It's about an hour's work normally. Took him 3 days. Tickets that have been in his name since the beginning of December. I closed this week. It took me 30 seconds. I logged in, I did the thing they wanted. I logged out. I told them, thanks Liz, done. Dead. And there's a bit of me that wants to understand why this is so hard for them, because they've been here a year now, and you know, even the simple stuff still seems to be, you know, beyond, you know, still seems like rocket science level stuff to them. And that's the bit I'm struggling with. And I don't know quite what to do, because my manager has now put goals and objectives in for me to knowledge transfer. But boss, I have. You seem to be under the illusion I have not told them. I mean, Rory's sitting here. Inanimate objects are sitting here. I mean, bear in mind, they've been around less time than I've been doing this. This lamp is potentially sitting there going, I know the answer, because I've said it that much. Thank you, Rory. Oh, that's Rory moving the table for you. Because he's just here now. Aren't you? Hello. Did me not threatening to cut your claws give you the hint? Busy. But yeah, I struggle with it because I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you. And I can tell you now, they do not... Telling me I need to write more documentation. They don't read it. They do not look at the documentation that we've got. They've got a OneNote thing they've cobbled together, and if it ain't in there, they don't know how to do it. The fact that there might be a document on how to do it is completely irrelevant. They will say they do not know, even if you told them. Even if the document is absolutely, you know, as Tenchi mentioned, chmod is how you modify the modifications of Unix. It goes user group other, known as UGNO, right? And read, write, execute. So R, W, and X. So, and then you have number values for those. 1, 2, 4, right? So 7 is read, write, and execute. 6 is read and write. Or something. Anyway, you know, 4 is read or whatever. You know how it goes, right? So read, write, execute. 55 is, yeah, that makes sense. Anyway, you sit there and you have, so you can use numbers or letters, doesn't matter, but the order is user, group, other. So there's only the 3 options. You're either the user or in the group, and you assign it a user using chown, change ownership, and you can do chown user 1, that will change the user. chown user 1 : group name, well then you'll change the group name as well. You can also group if you just want to change the group. And then that places people, so either you're the user, the group, or both. If you're the user, it assumes you're user. It will take whichever one of the two's got great permissions. And then group is obviously anyone in the same group as you. So for example, if you have students, you might have a group of students, let's say they're on this year's intake, so 2026. You might have Y 2026 as a group, so that all the students in this year's group can see, you know, can have share information amongst themselves, but maybe only read it. They can't change it. Or they have a specific folder where they can write and read it, or whatever, right? So this is how you do it. Unlike Windows, where you can have like 50 different groups, you still kind of can in Unix using setACL, but it's kind of invisible. Unix per se, user, group, everybody else, right? And you can write that down as much as you like. There's not one mention of that in any of their documentation. So whether you've told them that it's irrelevant, whether I've written I could have written War and Peace on it, they'd deny everything. But it's in there. And this is the trouble I'm having, is that I struggle with documentation because I'm dyslexic. And then I struggle even more knowing that no one's going to read it. It's completely by the by. It's the same with the audit stuff. Hang on, I can't reach because there's a dock in the way. And I got boobs. No, Rory. Not helping. Why is my table... Something's gone wrong with my table now. It's at a funny angle. Why is my table at a funny angle? There we go. Well, if they're not going to read it, the struggle I go through to write it becomes really hurtful. Because you're insisting that someone who do the thing they find the hardest, knowing full well it is a waste of time. Oh, my internet fired. Oh, only briefly. Okay. So yeah, but they didn't tell me they'd put set goals, by the way. They just did, which I thought was a little bit wrong. Rory, my man, you're handsome, I love you, and yes I do. Yes I do. You're a beautiful, lovely little boy. And you are generally quite gentle, and you're nice, and you are a pleasure, although your clothes not quite so much. No. I know, kisses for me, but you need shorter claws, my friend. You really, really do. You do. Because they dig in and then they hurt me. I don't have fur. And to be fair, nor does your sister. She's, you both have very thin fur. Yeah, very short, thin fur. It is barely enough to consider you not naked. Yes. Hmm? So your claws are not appreciated on her either, because random times I come across a bit of a scab on her where you've obviously been playing and you've thrown your paw at her and given her a scratch. Not meaning a hurtful way. We know that. We do. But you still succeed because your claws are so long. And I know you hate it. But if you let me do it and you didn't fight and you didn't make such a big deal, it wouldn't be so unpleasant. You need to do what Mummy does when she has injections. Just ask them to get the fuck on with it and get it over and done with. Yeah. Although Mr. Cannula Man is slightly in my bad books for the hand, but no, stop jogging the table, miserable animal. What you can't see is any sign of the dog, but he is currently leaning into the table. As you can tell. Yeah, that was you! That was you knocking something off. Yes. You are very loved. You are. You are. I always worry in case he's feeling really sad or insecure and can't tell me. Stop licking my hand. Stop, please. You little worm. Let me finish. I'm nearly finished. There. Nearly finished. Come on, out the way. Out the way or stay really still. I can't really reach round you. And I'm not left-handed enough to do this very well. I mean, I can. Sort of. I can find the hole. I'll hold the pin better. Should be a hole around here somewhere. Can't find it. Can't find the pinhole. Ouch, there it is. Definitely not ideally good at doing this. Left-handed. Do love you very much. But one hand. Yes. Now that doesn't mean get in further and get in the way more. You know that, right? You do. You do. I'm not quite sure what's going. It's partly because he's knocking the whole wretched lamp over. That's what it is. That's what it is. Now don't lean on my arm. Oh, Rory. This arm's now pinned, by the way. This is not moving. It's really hard to do this with one hand you cannot lift. Because there's a dog head on it. I'm glad you're comfortable, little man. He doesn't generally sit like this, which is across my lap, head on my arm, and being all comfortable. Normally he sits next to me or head slightly on my leg. So I don't like to discourage him because clearly, you know, I want him to feel comfortable, that he can have hugs and and all the rest of it, but at the same time, you are. Yes, you are, little man. I can't reach the pins. That was me. That was me. Come on, Rory. Pop you back there for a minute. Let's do this briefly. Get to the end. Because clearly dogs require... This bit's gone really hard. Now I know that there's 2 layers of things, but it's not that there's 2 layers of things that's causing the problem. I think it's just the angle of the 2 layers of things. So, because that one went in all right. Bless you. Right. I think, for doggety reasons, that is going to have to be it for today. But we did do a reasonable chunk. So let me skip this down a little bit so you can see. We started back here somewhere. Because I think we did that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. Did we do that one? Yeah, I think we did. We might... I don't think we only did 3. I'm pretty sure we did more than that. So we've done quite a few. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we've done... I mean, we've not done exactly, you know, record amounts of lace making, but we've done more than we've done in quite a while, to be honest. Because normally we talk too much. Yes, Rory, I'm aware. Little man, stop pouring up my shoulder. I will hug you in a minute. In a minute. Wait. Wait, little man. Wait. Let me tidy this up and take a photo of it. And then we can do dog things. I got to do this first. Let me try and take a picture of this. You can't see because it's too dark. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, it's good enough. Right. Quickly scan it for blatant faux pas. Just sit still, animal. That looks to be angles. Well, I'm going to say it looks alright. Some of the bottom ones here look a bit weird, but I think it's because, not because they're mid-stitch, because they're not, but because they don't continue on and it straightens everything up afterwards, so it looks a bit wonky right now, but it's fine. Seriously, dog, look, here is a nose. Look, just can you, I said wait. All I asked was for a couple of minutes. And then you can have as much huggies as you like while we watch telly. I don't know what you're trying to tell me, little man. I really don't. I do care. I really do. I am home with you all day, every day. I am. You're my little world. You are my family. I'd bite people for you. I would. I'd bite them for you. I'd protect you with my soul. I might shout at you occasionally, but I'd still protect you with my soul. I would. Yes. Never fear. The food will always come. Biscuits will always be here. Hugs will always happen, yawny face. Yes. Right. So, my lovely friends, thank you for joining me today. I feel it's possibly not been the most entertaining stream of all time. So I apologise for that. But we came. No worries, Tench. But thank you for being here. And it's always good to be here, and I love hearing from you. So that makes that, if nothing else, that's always a good thing. We have made some lace. We have progressed because, well, we've basically done this triangle. Well, you can't tell. Hang on. It's Rory. I need you to fuck off for a minute. Just for a minute or so. Let me move this down again because he's moved it. But pretty much we've done that whole section below my finger. So this triangle here. It's not a great amount, but it's not a small amount. It's more than we've done recently, so huzzah on that. But we have continued this line pretty much. I mean, we could have possibly done a couple more rows, but we have realistically taken this line down as far as it will go without. So we've done a decent chunk. I mean, this line here is 10 inches. Bear in mind, before we started, we weren't at inch 9. So, I mean, we're not at inch 10 just because we've touched at inch 10 kind of thing. But, you know, once we get, you know, down the other side, this bit happens in the middle quite quickly. So inch 10 is not too far away. Depending on the work. Now, the work that I didn't get, that wasn't involved in this afternoon, will have to continue. Because basically, we are required by law, in effect, it's not quite law, but it would go with law, it's a lot simpler, to do run some certain systems to audit and monitor and do certain things. The thing that they're installing has not been working with it. So allegedly, we've got to make it work. Well, what if it can't? The vendor has basically said we don't know of anyone who made it work. Not necessarily a good bar when I tell you how famous you will have heard of the vendor of this product. I'm not going to name them, but you will have heard of it. If you've heard anything, even if you're not particularly IT and it's not Microsoft, you will have heard. They're like the next biggest down from Microsoft, frankly, and it's not Google. But in terms of no, not networky. Not networky. This is computer operating system level EU stuff. Think of my co-worker and you'll probably grab the right company, right? Anyway, if they've not got anyone in the millions of users that they have, the other one, they don't do databases. If they've never heard of anyone successfully doing it, given that we know that one of the default audit tool that comes with the operating system doesn't work with it, and that is the recommended if this additional one is not good enough. Well, if it's shitter, and you don't recommend even the better one, really? You think it's going to work? So I'm not surprised. I mean, this particular product does state you can't run antivirus because it scans files. It'll take too long. It'll kill it. Well, the problem is some of the auditing that we do effectively does the equivalent. Well, so yeah, I'm not shocked. No, bigger, less open, more pay. I'll tell you who it is later. Hang on. Why is that not working? Shut up. Hang on. Let me do this. having brain farts. Hang on. So yeah, if they haven't heard of someone doing this shit and don't recommend even the better one, don't like my chances, but I have given it my best shot. I have tweaked it as far as I can tweak it. But it's still got to check, and well, it's too much. It's impairing what they're doing. I mean, so I foresee a great fun event where I prove that an apple is an apple. I.e. it doesn't work like we know it doesn't work. I know that the team are pushing to turn it off, as would I, because I didn't ask to run it in the first place. But apparently, oh, we've got to keep trying. Well, don't be telling me that when I know you've got servers without. Do not be telling me that, because it can't be that important. If you've got servers without, and these people don't have to run it, and these people don't have to run it, and that server doesn't have on, and that server's not got any of the other stuff on it either, don't be telling me these servers cannot exist without it. Because they freaking can. You know, like all of these things in life, many rules and regulations allow for you to have documented exceptions because, well, then document that the exception is because it sucks donkey balls and doesn't work if you do. I mean, surely that's all that's got to happen. Call me, you know, a bit stupid, but, you know, it isn't any more complicated than that. It really isn't. So I'm just trying to unhook this from the... because it's wrapped around something. There we go. So yeah. They could, but they haven't, but they won't, you know. For reasons only best known to themselves. That they can do it for plenty of other things, but not for this for some reason. I kind of get why. I do. Kinda. But there are bigger problems in the world. There really, truly are. So yeah, I am kind of on the team side with this. Is we have put a lot of effort in. And it's all well and good for someone in an office to go, no, I think you should try harder. Come on then, you come and do it. You get your feet in, you get dirty with this, you sit there and you work out how to make it work. You investigate it, you do something because you're the one who wants this. No one else did. You've decided this is the best way to go. And you didn't even know what it looks like. So come on. You know, I feel a bit like that sometimes. As I said, I call it my ivory tower syndrome. It's not that it's a wrong idea, because it really isn't. It's a perfectly good idea. In fact, it's quite a good idea in a lot of ways. But they're not always practical. It's like documenting things. You literally cannot document absolutely everything. Because you cannot document every eventuality of everything, right? And no matter how hard you try, you just can't. So your document never is, technically, 100%. No matter how great your documentation is, technically, some random weird shit will come up. Well, and this is where your experience has to kick in to fix it. And, you know, running a random system that we'd never used before 3 years ago, no training, I have worked out how to make it work. I know an awful lot about it. I have spent 3 years helping people work out what they need it to do and how it can work for them and all of how they can make their shit work with it, all of that. So don't be acting like I haven't tried. Do not. I've spent months working with this team trying to get their crap working, because it has been months. It was before October. I think I built the servers in August. Give you an idea. So don't be pretending I haven't tried. Do not pretend I have not tried to help make this shit work. But it's not working. Well, it does work, but what normally takes 5 to 12 minutes takes 3 hours with this tool on. 3 hours. It's not really viable. So yeah, next week we might get to turn it off for a week. Hurrah! And then we've got to resume things. So next week, maybe next week will be quieter. Maybe. We shall see. We shall very much see. But as I say, there is a bit of me that doesn't hold my breath. Because there'll be the, oh, well, can we try this? Do it yourselves, people. You've all got access to do it. Do it yourselves. Leave me out of it. Liz will not be generous with her extra hours next week. Liz will be trying to do something for Liz myself. Because as I say, I've literally, I don't think I've touched a single thing. As you know, normally I come on this stream and I show you, here's what I made this week or what I did last weekend. Here's what I haven't done any of that today because I haven't. I haven't added one stitch to my cross stitch. I haven't tatted anything. Although my new threads did arrive. So you may recall I was looking to add some coloured threads to because I found that when I had 2 threads I didn't mix them up. And so I was looking for some extra coloured threads to potentially, you know, sorry, I'm just going to straighten my table. Build up a bit of thing. The extra threads came. That's the only thing I can say is that the extra threads came. And I now have... Don't fall asleep, Rory. Let me grab my box. Can't reach. Let me actually get up. So, I have a box of the nice threads, which we like, or I like, nothing else, because you don't really get say in it. But I have some pretty colours. Now, they don't really show as well on camera, but I have kind of beige colour, yellow, pink, slightly browner, beige, green, a slightly browny green, a blue, and a purple. So that what I can do is mixtures of all of them, and white potentially, because I've got some white. She says checking that she's got some white. Hang on, let me look in my other boxes. So I've got white ones, so this is the thinner thread, this is the 40, yeah. So I've got white ones, this is the bigger thread, I think. Yeah, it's the big one. So I've got some bigger white ones. But the idea being is that I can almost do, because it does make a sort of little flowery type thing in the middle. I can almost, so I can have 2 colours, so I can make a bit of variation. Even if it's just white and the sandy colour. Just be that little bit of difference. But I ordered these because I thought it could be quite nice. That looks a little bit paler on it, you know, but it's fine. It's yellow. It's a bit insipid yellow. It's a bit piss yellow, but there we go. But I've got these other colours that I can use. So yeah, that's my plan. Have a bit of that going on. Don't know whether I do mainly white to remind you what I'm talking about. Hang on, it's here, squished away in my box of inside my purple that I was using. So to remind you, this is what I'm talking about. Hence I stored it in the purple. See, if you look at that, that looks a lot darker than it does actually there, even in person. But the colour would be this inner ring here. Now, so I could do it that is white. So let's say I could do it so that the pink is white. Hello, hello. Sadly, you're coming in at the end, my friend. So I don't know whether to do the white where the purple is or the white where the pink is, and then do the colour. Part of me says white where the purple is, so that the white joins the white, and there's just these little tiny kind of pops of colour in the middle. But I now have a big pile of coloured ones to go with the white, so that I can actually do that. And obviously the improved one with the extra little loops for stability, because I really do like how this one turned out. But it will be smaller. Not a lot smaller, probably about this sort of size. So that I will need quite a few of them. But so there will probably be much more this sized. Because I think this is the same sort of size. So these have got beads on, but that's not the point. So about this sort of size. So, you know, I'm going to need a fair few of these. I do like how this turned out with the beads, but because I really was hoping to make the curtain with the beads so that they glinted in the sunlight. But it is a bit of a faff. And it is kind of a faff I'm not sure I'm really wanting to embrace, if you know what I mean. This is true. We started some 2.5 hours ago, so yeah, we're kind of wrapping up today. But if I do white where the purple is, and then one of those pretty colours, even if it is this, there is still a colour definition, there is still a variance. It just breaks it up a little bit. But I do like the fact that this hasn't quite got the big gaps on it. I do like that. Do like that. And I have found a thing, people. So there is a website that you can draw the loops and put numbers on and things to make patterns, so that realistically you don't have to try and fight Inkscape or paint or whatever to try and draw it out. Now obviously I've got the pattern for this, and I can draw on a couple of loops because, well, it's well within my remit to draw a couple of little O's. But if I wanted to draw a whole pattern, I was curious how I'd do that. Well, we have done some epically long streams in the past, but mentally, as I was pointing out to the guys, I seem to have done 17.5 hours extra this work between Monday and Thursday. Well, Monday and Wednesday, actually. So, to give you an idea, so I'm a bit fried this week. But to be honest, it depends. I think crafting streams are difficult. They do require concentration of a level, and different to gaming streams. And gaming streams are good because you get your little dopamine hits, you kill things, you find things, you succeed, you finish quests, whatever it is. You get a new bit of gear, you decide whether it's better or not. Well, and I think that could be the thing. You either really get into it. Today, I have been hampered by a little dog who is not really visible, but he's kind of down here at the moment, leaning against the cushion. I don't know if it'll work, but if I do... You can just see a dog head behind the text. See, it moved. So, little man has been a little bit of a pain in the arse today. And so, because he wants to currently be sitting on me, which he's about to try and do some more of, I can't really do a lot of lace because, like, for example, right now, this is as far as I can reach, because there's a dog in the way. But because I'm really tired from doing all the extra hours this week, I just want to go to sleep. But I'm really pleased. We did possibly the biggest patch of lace that we've done in a while today. We're now on to the why I haven't done anything else, because normally I come on stream and I've got loads to show you about things I've done or bought or whatever that's relevant. No, I haven't got anything this week. The most I've got was some more coloured thread that finally came. And that was it. I haven't done anything else this week. I haven't cross-stitched, I haven't tatted, I haven't... well, for example, on as I said to the guys earlier, on Wednesday, I got up and started work, pretty much rolled out of bed, fell down the stairs, fired up my work laptop. I didn't fall down the stairs, literally, but figuratively. Fell down the stairs, fire up the work laptop, go and get a drink. By the time that's happened, the laptop's fired up. Log into work. I didn't log out of work till Thursday. I am dead. And cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how old you are, but I can tell you now, at the age of 53, that is a hard ask these days. And of course, it also depends on what you're doing. Now, if I'd been gaming... No, you can interrupt me, all right. It's right, I'm only ranting. If I'd been playing, say, Monsters and Memories Stress Test, I can do 48 hours. I'll be tired, but I can do 48 hours. But when it comes to, I've made a change, can you now test it? Wait. It's the waiting that kills me. It is being mentally alert after a long day when you're not active. In my days of EverQuest, the best example was this. I've been playing for a number of hours. My friends logged on, so I was going to go and join them. Got to... No! Got to Butcher Block to catch the boat to Freeport. The boat wasn't there, obviously, as the boat comes every 20 minutes. So I'm sitting waiting, kind of all but swimming on my legs on the end of the pier. Fell asleep. Woke up to see the boat literally leaving and was about 2 meters away from the jetty. Oh yeah, I couldn't jump and catch it, right? Bugger, says me. Oh, I'll catch the next one. So now I've got another 20-minute wait. Swingy. Did it again. I did it 3 times. So basically I slept, opened my eyes to see the boat going away, swore, promised I'd catch the next one, and failed 3 times in a row. I then decided to log off because clearly I was too tired for this shit. But that's the problem I find, is that if I'd been running around killing things, if I'd been in the middle of some complicated fight, some raid mob, whatever, I would have stayed awake and I would have been alert and good. The problem is the waiting. And it's the same with waiting at hospitals. I am good, but the moment you sit me in a waiting thing... I've got deep rock. Rock and stone! Sorry. Well, rock and stone all the way. For I have also played. And so, like on Wednesday, we've been having performance issues. I suggested a way potentially that would be more performant. The other team put in 0 effort. I'm a bit tired. If I wasn't this had been a normal week, I probably would have been up for it. Because I do rock and stone after all. I suck at it, but I rock and stone. Well, I don't suck at it, but I'm just not great at it. Ping me nearer the time on Discord if I'm awake and I'm fit, you know, I've got a bit of second wind and I've had a nap and everything. Maybe. If I haven't, then I won't, because, well, I'll be asleep. Or I'll be basically asleep or as good as asleep, even if I'm still semi-conscious at the time. So ping me on Discord. But as I said, because they, this thing, I came up with a potential. Oh, it is definitely for Carl. Should probably still be better than me, right? But I'm up for dying. I die a lot. I don't feel no shame in death. But I try. Believe me, I try. I usually get lost in trying to escape. That's usually my problem, is I get a bit lost trying to escape. Because, of course, the stupid robot things that lead you out always seems to pick a path you can't actually climb. It's close, but it'll, wander up this sheer wall and you're going, I can't go up that, love. Not even with my little hook and grapple. Yeah. It's been a while, but I could definitely rock and stone. But yeah, this thing, I put in a lot of time and effort all of Wednesday working out how to, change their rules so that they could be more performant, to reduce the number of rules, to sort it out. Fair enough. We could try what you like. But having done all the work, they didn't even check it for me. They didn't even look. Then they didn't follow any of the processes that they're supposed to. And so when it actually came to 4 o'clock, my normal knockoff time, I didn't even know if I was working that night. So I hung around to find out that, oh yeah, apparently I was. Yeah. I get really lost, but especially when you've got to the bottom to collect all the things that you need to collect or whatever, and then it's time for evacuation, and you're supposed to kind of flee back to the starting point, and the little robot that goes back to lead you the way, or can show you the way, well, if you get stuck on a bit, it's fucking off and leaving you for dead. I mean, it's got no shame there. And you're stuck on a rock and can't climb it because you're a dimwit or whatever reason. I mean, I get stuck on everything, it seems. But you do your best to try and catch it, and it kind of goes, oh, well, never mind. Hang on, you walked up a sheer cliff face while I've got to run over there and climb this and, kind of landslide down here and wait for me, you piece of crap. So yeah, I do get very lost and disorientated in it as well. Yeah! Molly will just fuck off up a sheer cliff and through the tiniest hole. And yes, she does leave lights, but sometimes you lose sight of the lights because you've had to go over there to come back because she's gone up a sheer cliff face, and you struggle finding them again. Because you got a bit disorientated in the climb. But yeah, so they didn't check my work, and there was, well, I followed the instructions, and the instructions said that you can do it by a group. Well, you can do it by a group, but it actually says if you want a load of users to do this, make a group, put them in it, and do this. What it doesn't tell you is that that's not how it works. No, thanks for that. It's got to be the group that they primarily are part of. It can't just be a group they are in. Even though that's what the document... So we found that out Wednesday night, so I had to change that. Now, that's not a big deal, search, replace, But it was still meant that we'd tried it, it failed, that was an hour. And the guy doing the testing hadn't actually told me what he was going to do. Yeah, but it's 3D and 2D. It still can be hard to sometimes judge quite how you're getting out of where you're getting out, if that makes sense. So yeah, Wednesday was a hard day, and I'm a bit old because I'm nearly twice your fucking age. So, yeah, I'm an old fart. I'm not designed for long days, and especially. I mean, it's a good general gist of, you know, I don't know, homes that way, but... Oh, fuck off. In which case, I'm definitely going to be older than somebody. Twice as old as somebody. So, yeah. Well, I'm going to be 54 this year. So, yeah. I'm like you plus them older, right? And I will tell you, it's a bit of a steep cliff when you get old as well. I can still do long gameplay if I'm, you know... Yeah, but he'll be fucking retired! I'm still holding down a full-time job. Yeah, I'm still holding down a full-time job. And as I say, I've basically doubled my hours this week. Pretty much, not quite. Because I've done 3 extra days out of 5, so you know, I am feeling slightly frazzled a bit. As I say, if this had been a normal week, I'm normally up at 1 o'clock in the morning. Admittedly, I'm usually going to bed, but I'm usually still awake and forcing myself to go to bed. I've been known to be up till 4 or 5 in the morning, so I could certainly have done at least some of it. But I'm not sure that this week I will be overly fit. But you know, so. Yay! Yay, it's Naughty Celt. And Naughty Celt arrives for the end. Well done, Naughty Celt. But yeah, it's been a long week. It's been an exceptionally long week. Hey, Naughty Celt. How you doing? I meant to message you, I forgot. Sorry. It's been a week. As I was just saying, I have kind of done 3 extra days work in 5 days, so I've been a bit busy. And Rory feels deprived, which is what I think some of this is about. A minute. Is that what all of this I need love is about? But you were here. You were lying on my big fluffy duvet. You were next to me. Yes. Yes, you were. You weren't really missing out. Naughty Celt, it was your birthday! When was your birthday? When was your birthday? Blimey. Well, Naughty Celt, I hope you had a great birthday and that you didn't do any dull crap on your birthday. And that you got to sleep if you wished and eat all the nice foods. And that you had a good day. I want to so technically. Well, the thing is I'm actually doing the work of 3 or 4 people, and the fact that I then had to do extra hours on top of it. I mean, I know. That's nice, Naughty Celt. I mean, yeah, Rekka, I mean, our team of, well, 4.5 people do the work most departments of 20 would do. And currently 2 of us are doing 90% of the work. And we're feeling it. We really, really are. Both me and my co-worker. And we are truly, truly feeling the pull. And it just, and there's stuff coming up that's got to be done before April. And we've got to build 3 more clusters, but he hasn't had time to build the cluster he's had since August yet. And hence I've said, well, is there any chance I can do it? Not that I've really got the time either, but you know, if someone prioritises, maybe I can, you know, take one off you and you can do one, I can do one. And he went, well, probably, but I still need to tell you how to do it. Because apparently next done will not be a good plan, because the defaults apparently are not great in my co-worker's opinion. And to be fair, defaults are usually okay for smaller things, not good in a more performant environment. But if we're only going to be putting one database on it, doesn't really fucking matter. There is a bit of me that kind of feels that way, obviously, because, you know, and there's also a bit of me that, with my Microsoft SQL experience, goes, what do you mean you can't just do restore from into done? What do you mean it takes you a week to do a clone? It takes me about an hour and a half. Why? You know. So there is a bit of that going on. But, as I say, I've learned quite a bit, and well, if it's any consolation, yeah, I mean, if it's any consolation, I remember as a child truly insulting my mother. We'd covered how dinosaurs used to walk the earth, right? And I did two great insults. One was obviously about the dinosaurs, because it's a bit like the "Mum, what was it like when the world was black and white" kind of comment. This was, "Mum, what were the dinosaurs like because you're old?" The second one was, we did how weather systems can be different higher up in the atmosphere. So I asked her what the weather was like up there, because she was significantly taller than me, because I was tiny. I was like 7. I think I got a slap for both of them for being rude. But we just covered them at school. It seemed perfectly natural. But you're an old person. I mean, she was probably 30. But you're an old person, you know. Well, exactly. And they didn't have colour TV. You know, colour wasn't invented until, what, 1950 or something. Yeah, very much. Otherwise, you know, why were all the films black and white? Yeah. All the photos were black and white. So the world must have not had colour. It's perfectly logical. Thank you very much. But yeah, it was very much was the "Mum, what were the dinosaurs like when they were alive? Because you're old." My mother was very unimpressed. Especially as it's not like I didn't know my grandparents were older. But that doesn't mean you weren't around when the dinosaurs were, Mum. I mean, that just means they were around longer. Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure my mother thought I was a wonderful child. But yeah, what's the weather like up there, Mum? I hear it's different up there. Didn't go down very well. I also, it's a bit TMI, but I was probably 6 when I said it, so bear with me. My parents made me be fairly independent from an early age. And so, pretty much, once I was about 4, I had to dress myself. They might put my clothes out for me, but I would have to... My mother would wake me up, but then getting dressed was down to me. And I do remember one Saturday, my mother was taking me to go shopping around the high street. Not because I wanted to go, but because, well, it gets me out of the house away from my dad kind of thing. And so my dad got some peace and quiet. I thought he had that from me when he was at work. But apparently, you know, she would drag me along for the fun of it. I remember announcing to her, "Mum, I haven't got any pants on." For some reason, I hadn't put my pants on that day. I'd skipped that bit and gone straight for the trousers and gone commando. Obviously, I didn't know it was called commando back then, but I just remember announcing rather loudly in my small childish voice, as you do as a child, "Mum, I haven't got any pants on." And my mother kind of, "Ow!" Yes, I heard a vehicle too, dog. And my mother look on my mother as if it was a slant on her reputation. "Well, you trusted me to get dressed without you. I failed today, clearly." You know? I just realised I haven't got my pants on. And the worst thing was, I don't know why, because it was a good couple of hours since I'd been up. And at no point had I either been for a wee or whatever and noticed I didn't have my... But I knew I didn't have my pants on, but I hadn't done it. It hadn't dawned on me that I probably should rectify this before going out the house. I mean, technically, it doesn't matter. I mean, you know, it's not like they're on display here. But, you know... Well, my parents, I need to point out, we were not a rich family. We were not even a technically comfortably well-off family. We were arguably poor. My parents, I got one Christmas present. I would get one birthday present. Now, I might get a few little ones from friends of the family and, you know, but it would be things like I would have one Christmas present. Now I'm talking maybe it cost 20 quid, right? We're not talking hundreds, we are talking one. And most of the time it was something my mother had made, okay? But when it came to, Mum, can I have a TV in my room? They rented their TV. They didn't buy it, they rented it. If I wanted a TV in my room, even if it was a small one, so not like a family TV sized one, you know, little 12-inch job, I had to buy it. But I also wasn't allowed a job. And my pocket money would have meant I would have still probably wouldn't be able to afford it today, right? Because that's how little I got. I was getting like 50p a week. And the only way I could earn money was sing in the church choir or ring the church bells when I was a bit older. And so I did. And I saved up. I bought myself a record, tape and radio player. I bought myself a TV. I bought myself a computer. And my parents hated me for that because they couldn't say no, because they told me if I needed to buy it, I'd have to save up for it. So I did. And my little black and white TV had a little spinny dial on it, not buttons or a remote control. I was so good with that TV. I could just turn it and I would be at the right TV channel. And it wasn't marked. Didn't mark it. Didn't need to. It's the autistic part of me. But what made me laugh was that at one point my parents' TV broke down. Now, there was a standing argument. I was up in my bedroom. My parents were down in the sitting room. So, for kind of scale, by this point, the sitting room was out in the extension. So, there was the extension. If we use these, there was an extension. What used to be the sitting room, the dining room. My bedroom was above the dining room. And if I had my TV on... Yeah, but my bedroom was above the dining room. They were in this room. But even if I had my TV on, not particularly loud, all I would hear all the time was, we can't hear our TV because yours is too loud. And I'd be up here thinking, I can't hear my TV because all I can hear is yours. And occasionally we would get into quite heated arguments about it. Because obviously there was some form... Now, I will point out that there were... it had fireplaces, so the sound would have gone down the fireplace and into the dining room. So if they'd been in here, I could have argued for it. But they're over here. There's no fireplace in this room. The fireplace that goes from here to here, you have to go up to go down to go down to come out. So it shouldn't be that loud. But... Oh, my batteries are low, so I'll have to go in a minute. But their TV broke and demanded my TV. So I put my TV on top of the thing. And the grumpiness of how shit my TV was. And it's like, well, it's not yours. Be grateful I'm lending you it. Because, you know, that was the attitude my parents always had about these things. Was well, it's not yours. Just be grateful they were kind enough to let you borrow it, kind of thing, right? But all they did all the time they used my TV was whine. And especially as my dad wanted to watch the snooker, he couldn't work out what colour balls were what in black and white. And it's like, But that's the green one, Dad. How do you know? Because I'm used to watching it, Dad. It's my TV. I can tell you that's the green one, that's the pink one, that's the yellow one. Even though they all pretty much look the same. And it was kind of like, I know which one's which, Dad. Because I'm used to it. Just because you're used to all your fancy fucking colour shit, you know. But you wouldn't, you know. I had to buy this TV and I couldn't afford a colour one in a month of Sundays. So I bought a black and white one. Yeah. And then, of course, them having to find the dial spots for all the channels. And it's like, I can't remember the numbers now, but it's like, it's 45, Dad. Well, I'm at 45, yeah, but you have to find the exact spot. Otherwise, it's all shitty. I can't do it. It's there. Oh. Because, of course, you almost get a form of muscle memory. Oh, I want to go 2 channels over. I want to go 1 channel that way. You know, you just had muscle memory with it all. And, of course, they didn't have it because they weren't used to it. Then, of course, so it did encourage them to get their TV fixed, I will admit. But they had to use my TV for a weekend. And, frankly, I think it near killed them. It's a bit like if I'd had to lend my dad my car. I think that would have killed him and all. When I bust my knee, I drove my dad to the place where I was getting assessed, and he refused to ever get in my car again because it's not a Mercedes, darling. Oh, it's too rough. It's a Mini, Dad. It's a fucking Mini. It is not designed to be a boat and gently roll. It's designed to zip about, and that's what it does. And you chose the route with all the speed bumps. To the point, he made me drive back like 20 mile extra because he wanted to avoid every speed bump. It wasn't that bad. I mean, it's not like I was hitting them at 40 and taking off, you know, or ripping me suspension off. I was basically stopping and creeping over them. I am considerate, you know. Anyway, I'm going to go because the batteries are low on my ear thing. Never heard it complain about that before, actually. Which probably means, for some reason, I haven't had the light on as much. That's why, because this light charges them. Because what you can't see is that if I grab the case, there is a cable that comes from the light, but it only charges when the light is on, which is a bit shit, really. Because well, it's plugged in. And it doesn't tell you that the port is only live when the light is on. But I do know that it's only on when the light is on. So I need to have the light on and charge them up a bit. Because clearly I haven't charged them enough. So thank you for coming today. Thank you for being here. I will be back 2 o'clock my time. So that's 3 hours ago. Next Friday. Hopefully before. Because if we're turning the shit off next week. Hopefully it will be a quieter week. But someone else will have a problem. But let's hope, right? Because the idea that the team lead had with, well, we could do this. Yeah, dude, that creates even more rules. I do think that people are, you know, I'm going to class you as, you know, older era, because clearly you have older things. We had stuff, and when you are in a family where, you know, you're not the Kardashians and money raining from the sky kind of thing, where, you know, every child doesn't get a brand new car for their birthday when they're old enough and all that kind of shit. When, if you want a, you know, like I did, if I wanted a car, I would have had to pay for it, and I did. And it was shit. But I loved it all the same, right? When you have to earn it, when you get everyone else's cast-offs, when you get second-hand shit, even if you're the only child like I was, right? You know, you get somebody else's cast-offs because that's all you can afford. You appreciate new things. You appreciate even the second-hand one that you've got. And I think that's part of the reason that I am a big fan of having dogs from dog shelters. Because they're the ones that someone else has already gone, I don't want that. They appreciate you because you love them, and you appreciate them because, well, we all know what happens to dogs who don't find a home. Wow. Well, exactly. My little 4:3 black and white TV. Fucking thing was an absolute stonk. I mean, it was ugly. It was shit. But I loved that thing. I've got a TV. It's over there. I haven't turned that thing on in a year. And it's a 45-inch TV, OLED, fucking dog's nut shit. I haven't turned it on. I watch all my TV on my computer now. It's a lot more convenient because, it's right in front of me. But there is just this thing of when, you appreciate things. And Timmy, excuse my French, children who just get given phones and laptops and Xboxes and just get given them, Mummy, I want, and next opportunity, here you are, child. They don't seem to appreciate stuff like we did. Now, I'm not saying that they should suffer and do without like we did, because sometimes it was a bit cruel. When everyone else has got one and your parents are saying no, because, it can be difficult. But at the same time, like you see you see the videos of it's the wrong colour and they deliberately break it because it's not what they wanted. I'd be dead if I'd done that to something my parents gave me. I would be absolutely, there would be no trace of me anywhere. They'd have fucking found a pig farm or something. They would have absolutely, this went out. I'm sure she'll be back. And that'll be it. She hasn't come back. She must be lost. They'd have fed me to the pigs somewhere. I mean, really, it's just not good. When my dad died, I did steal his TV with means to sticking it in my bedroom. And then I got bored and changed my mind and didn't. So I actually gave it away. I gave it to someone whose TV was, who had a child, I won't say an old child, but a teenager who deserved a TV in their room. They'd been really, really good. And I said, well, I've got a spare TV, you can have it. So I did. That's what I did with mine. So I gave them that. But it is one of those things, because I didn't pay for it in the first place, I didn't really feel any guilt in giving it away. It was mine to give, so I'm not using it. Feel free. But yeah, I need to go. I need to order food. My ear thing's going to run out of juice. It's been great talking with you all. As I say, I'll be back. I'll post the video of this up on YouTube, which Christy, I know you'll be listening one day. I don't understand how you can go through the backlog. It just weirds me out. I mean, I can understand going back today to watch the beginning or watching something you missed and you wanted to see, but just watching them all, it'd be like rewatching, news programs from 10 years ago. You don't mind watching a little bit of clips of things, but you wouldn't watch the whole thing, not normally. Anyway, it just weirds me out, but you do you. I stick them up on YouTube more for my own thoughts than anything else, so I can trace what I did and where I was, and kind of a diary of events. So it's more for me than for you lot. But it will be up. There's always Discord. Feel free to join our Discord, chat about your crafty things and general bitches in life, because those are acceptable. You're allowed to bitch in my general chat a little bit. I mean, there are limits, obviously, but feel free to vent a little bit and get sympathies or ask questions of people, because we're all human after all. But I will definitely see you next Friday if I do not see you before. I am hoping before, just like I was last week, and then all that shit happened, so that didn't work. But I'm trying. I am still feeling more positive than I was. Well, I don't have any family, so I can't scab it off there. But I will say the couch and stuff that I'm sitting on, I didn't pay for, technically. It came with the house. She was going to chuck it, and I asked if I could buy it off her, and she said, "Nah, you can have it." So technically, it's free. It's a free couch. I like this couch. I really do like this couch. It's wooden and posh looking and everything. Well, you do that, please. Please do. Please do. Please do. Anyway. And I love it. Because my dad would have loved it too, which is even better. My dad would be very pleased that it is wood and that I have repaired it because it split when I turned the heating on. But yeah, I repaired it and everything because, well, I am the daughter of a carpenter. So I have repaired it properly with wood glue and clamps and shit. But, you know, anyway, I hope you have a great weekend. If I don't see you over the weekend or early next week, I shall hopefully see you again on Friday. As I say, ask any questions you like in Discord. First couch I owned was a couch I really liked, and I still own. It's in my old house, but I still have it. From IKEA. It was a 3-seater thing that basically was like a wooden frame that had a board with some almost plastic tarpaulin stretched over it that you place 3 cushions on there and then 3 cushions along the back. And it was drug filled. You'd lie down, put even the thinnest cushion on the arm, and like 10 minutes later you were asleep whether you were tired or not. It's great. This couch has the same kind of effect, by the way. And this is slightly similar. Well, on this one, you didn't have the wooden reinforcements. You only had this cheap plastic kind of almost like carrier bag level plastic woven that covered this frame. So my dad did give me a wooden board that was the right size to fit. And so you then so hence it's still at my old house. And it's a perfectly good couch. It sounds horrible. It actually was really quite comfortable. It was more comfortable to sit on. This is slightly less comfortable because I've had to put wooden boards onto this one because, again, the kind of webbing underneath died. But the cushions on this have gone a bit flat now. So hence they're a little bit less comfortable to sit on. And it can really make my shoulder hurt if I lie down to go to try and snooze on it for some reason. So that's a bit of an annoyance. But as a general rule, this couch is actually really comfortable. It's way better than the one my dad built. And it's got scroll ends to the arms. It's got carvings on the head bit. Yeah, if I could find a mattress that's about the right size to go on the bottom of this, I'd do it in a heartbeat. But of course, being a couch and it's not a very deep couch, it doesn't really fit. But it is tempting to almost see if I can get a custom-made mattress to fit. Because the individual cushions are annoying because, well, they slide independently. Whereas a mattress wouldn't. So, yeah. It is quite tempting. Anyway. Yeah. I'm not sure it would support me and 2 dogs. Anyway, I really must go before my batteries run out and it all goes really, really hideously wrong. As I say, love to you all. I hope you have a good week. And I will see you as soon as I can. But failing that, next Friday is definitely a deal. And there you go, battery lows again. No worries. Have fun, everybody. See you next time.